Hello, and greetings from across the media multiverse. Yeah, I'm not sure about this backlight. Looks rather spooky in the spectacles, doesn't it? Hmm. Well, that's better, isn't it? I guess that's one of the advantages with not wearing glasses. Yeah, so today I am going to have a look at the James Bond film, You Only Live Twice. If there is one word to describe this movie, it is iconic. Along with From Russia with Love, this film continues to be parodied to this day. For example, volcano is a shorthand word for a villain's secret lair. Dr. Evil in the Austin Power movies is very familiar. But cultural references aside, is it still a top drawer Bond film? Spectre planned to start a war between the Soviet Union and the United States. This is done by hijacking American spacecraft and blaming it on the Soviets. In order to provide James Bond some cover, his death is faked and he's sent to Japan, where British intelligence believe the base of operations is located, much to the disbelief of both the Americans and the Russians. The fake killing of Bond in the pre-credit sequence is a convenience to justify the movie's title, You Only Live Twice. Nevertheless, it does set up the movie along with the parallel opener of the abduction of the US and Soviet Union spacecraft. One thing to note is that all the films of the 1960s, except for this one, were very recognisable to the book readers. But this is the first movie of, and the only movie of the 1960s, where all the actions contained within the movie had nothing to do with the book that it is supposedly based on. Sure, earlier films may have been upgraded. So, for example, in the movie Goldfinger, in the famous laser scene where Bond is about to be cut in half, the book used an electric saw, but the reader would recognise that scene from the book in the movie. You had no similar scenes here in You Only Live Twice. This movie is as much of a game changer as Goldfinger was back in 1964. Here we have locations and names from the book, but the story provoking a war between the United States and the Soviet Union is completely made up and has no bearing to the book. This plotting format would become the norm from Diamonds Are Forever in the 1970s onwards. One of the highlights of this movie is that we finally get to meet Spectre number one, Ernst Stavro Blofeld, portrayed here by Donald Pleasence. Although Pleasence looks nothing like the previous glimpses we had of Blofeld in earlier films, it's not really a problem because Blofeld will look different in future films too. However, it is the Pleasence look of Blofeld that is the one that will be resurrected for the Daniel Craig era. Again, another reason why I think this movie is so iconic. And you can see why they chose the Pleasence version. Donald Pleasence just drips venom with every word he utters. He is an utter joy, had he not been so evil, that is. The script of the movie is by Roald Dahl, the same Roald Dahl who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, Tales of the Unexpected, and many other books. And as you would expect from a Dahl script, it sizzles along beautifully. And as previously mentioned, Dahl successfully introduces the tropes and format for the 1970s movies. Indeed, the similarity between this movie and The Spy Who Loved Me 10 years later, let's just say the latter is a homage to the former. The action is good, but there are two standout action sequences. One, Little Nelly, and two, the big battle with the ninjas in the volcano at the end. The action sequence with Little Nelly over the volcanoes is absolutely brilliant. It is very similar to action scenes we always associate with action movies, but normally they are with cars. Seeing it in the air just gives it a whole new exciting perspective. And in the background you have the James Bond theme, and the theme really flies. The other main standout action sequence is the volcano ninja battle. Blofeld locking himself away in the inner sanctum added to the excitement. Can Bond really stop everything? Can he really bring the whole Spectre operation to a close? Exciting stuff. There are some elements to this movie that don't quite go as well as planned, such as when James Bond goes undercover and dresses up as a Japanese fisherman. It is unconvincing, but also it is forgotten about pretty quickly because about 3 scenes later, he's looking back to his normal self. So what was really the point of it in many ways? Overall, the Bond girls in this movie aren't the most memorable of the series. But, having said that, this is counterbalanced with Karin Dor, who plays Helga Brandt. Brandt is an excellent femme fatale. She is cool, calculating, resourceful, and it is such a shame that she has to ultimately, and obviously, lose to James Bond. The bromance between Bond and Tiger Tanaka is very good. You can see the respect turning into a genuine friendship. This is good acting, writing, and directing as the transformation occurs naturally. Despite some shop talk between Bond and Tiger, such as whether M has a secret train himself, as Tiger does in Japan, they're on a mission. So there's no time to wallow introspectively, and personally I think it's all the better for it. Location-wise, I genuinely feel that I am in Japan. The scenery, the background, the music, the little touches, they all transport me into a new world. And this is a far cry from today's movies, which are very globe-trotting, and yet they feel that they could be filmed pretty much anywhere. And there's no padding. The whole story is weaved together expertly, and the plot just keeps going. And on to Sean Connery himself. Allegedly, he was bored of the role by this point, and would only do one take to ensure there were no overshoots on the movie. Well, all I'm going to say is if this is Sean Connery on one take, wow. He still oozes that charm and charisma that he had in Dr. No and propelled him to stardom. At the beginning, I asked whether, cultural references aside, this is still a top drawer Bond. I believe it stands the test of time. It is a good action thriller with a suitably ludicrous yet probable plot. Boiled down, it's someone playing two others against each other, and that is a scenario that is totally believable. Added to the above, we also have the theme, a lovely ballad sang by Nancy Sinatra, the daughter of Frank Sinatra. 2 hours of fun are guaranteed, and this is my favourite Sean Connery movie, as in Bond. Obviously, I'm going to give it a full 10 out of 10. And what are your thoughts on You Only Live Twice? Are you as enamoured as I am? Or do you feel it's dated? Grateful for any views you may have. So until next time, may your news be good news and happy times and places. Farewell.